I think that a lot of people get stuck in the production mindset, right? The production mindset is a survival mindset, and you nailed it. It's a self-employed mindset. And it happens in every industry. It happens in the insurance industry. A self-employed mindset happens in the real estate industry. It happens in the mortgage industry, right? It can happen in any industry where you have a license to do what you do. Production is what I refer to as the low-hanging fruit. It's the immediate satisfaction. It fulfills the immediate need. You help a family, money hits your bank account. Recruiting requires a vision. Without a vision, the recruiting's not going to happen. See, a lot of agents have it wrong. They think, man, I'm really bad at recruiting and I don't know how to build a team. It's not that people are bad at recruiting. It's not that they don't know how to build a team. It's that they lack vision.
Well, listen, I know that I had a million questions. I had to narrow it down to three, but I think I really want to talk about vision and So, at what point, Steve, did this business go from your head to your heart?
That's such a great question. So there's typically two different kinds of people, Garth. The first kind of person finds our business because they're passionate about the crusade, about the mission. Maybe they've had a death in the family where they've had no life insurance, or they've seen how life insurance can impact the family. So they've kind of sought out the feeling of what we do for the crusade. But for me, I started because I wanted to make income. And the first year it was about getting licensed. Yes, obviously, helping people was important and doing the right thing was always at the forefront. But I was here because, I could be successful and I could accomplish things, and I was chasing significance, and, I wanted to feel a certain way, like that sense of accomplishment. But I was about a year or a year and a half in, and my senior partner called me. I remember exactly where I was. And he said, Matthew just passed away. Matthew was a part of the team. He was recruited at 18 years old. His dad was in the business, and a year into the business, he was now, I believe, 19. It was a grad night. He slid off the road and came back on the road to wave down help, and he got hit by a truck and he passed away. And in that moment, I felt something that I'd never felt before. A teammate of ours, a teammate of the team's had passed away. And my first question to my mentor, my leader, was, oh my God, did we put a policy on Matthew? And he said, yeah, we did. We put he told me how much it was. And I remember when that happened. I remember, because it's such a small team at the time. And the impact that check had on his father, who had just lost his son. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it might have saved his life. It let him grieve. It let him, spend time with his other child. So that's really when it hit me. It's really when I saw the power of the products really take force, and it happened to somebody who was so beloved on our team and a part of it. And then I realized that moment, Garth, I was like, we're not just making money here. We're not just putting these phantom policies on people, and the impact that this has long-term is life-changing. And I remember I used that as motivation to really buy into the crusade and become almost evangelistic with the cause and the mission. And I've never been the same since. And since then, I mean, we've lost 3, 4, 5 teammates and dozens and dozens and dozens of clients. But that was my first experience at 24 years old of what it felt like to lose a teammate, and they had coverage, thank God.
My next question is, I mean, you've been phenomenally successful for years and years. And I just, I wonder, I mean, you could probably retire now, live comfortably from what you have earned. So what motivates you, Steve, to keep, building your World Financial Group business?
Everybody has this dream and they think, well, if I could just make $300,000-400,000 a year, then I can retire. I can be happy. And my God, if I were ever to make $1 million a year, I remember somebody asking me that when I started. If you made $1 million a year, what would you do? I'd be like, I'd retire. I'd be living on the beach in Bora Bora. And I think those words are spoken from somebody who hasn't experienced the power of building people. My passion now, Garth, is building people. I don't get the same rush anymore earning income that I used to. I'm beyond that. I feel like I've grown from competing to creating. My passion now is creating leaders, right? Leaders building leaders. I want to build something that supersedes, my life and my wife's life and my kids' life. My passion is helping people get to where they want to go. And I don't see myself ever deviating from that journey. Are there going to be times where, yeah, I check out and I'm less active at times, and I'm traveling. I'm going to be checking things off my bucket list in the next 10 to 15 years, believe you me. But really, it's about building people. Even getting on a call, and even the times that we've had just you and I this last year and a half, and watching your growth and checking in on you, that's what fires me up. And, yeah, we have goals and we have things that we want, but none of my goals are tied to my income anymore. It's all tied to impact. And the funny thing is the bigger we get, the more success we have, it just pushes out the yardstick. So that's what fires me up, is getting up every morning, going to work and building somebody, helping them gain their confidence, helping them find their swagger, helping them become the leader that I think that they were born to be. And man, when the alarm goes off, Garth, my feet hit the ground and I am running, brother, because that inspires me more than any paycheck.
Wow. I aspire to get to that place someday.
You will, because it becomes addictive. Once you start seeing other people success that you've had your hand in, you can't get that taste out of your mouth.
Well, my last question is, I'm curious about how big your vision is. I mean, what are the top yet to be checked off items, the top 5 yet to be checked off items on your bucket list?
Oh man. There's so many things on my bucket list. I'll give you one that's impact, and I'll give you a couple that are more important to me as a young man, but they're things that I want to accomplish. So my number one bucket list goal is to start a foundation, Garth, that donates $1 million a year to children's causes. And that could be Crohn's and colitis, ulcerative bowel disease, which my family has been affected with, myself, my son. Actually, my daughter's going through some testing right now for that same illness, but it could be anything child related. I love children. I think that children are such a huge part of our future. Obviously they are, because they are the next generation, but empowering them, building their confidence up. I just want to be around. I want to be around my kids. I want to be around other kids. I want to have an impact. So I would like to build some sort of a foundation or be involved with a charity that donates over $1 million a year to kids' causes worldwide. That's the number one bucket list item for me. Now, we go down the list a bit. Garth, I want to have a fractional ownership in an NHL franchise.
Awesome.
Other than this business and my family, my health, I have a dirty little secret. I'm obsessed with NHL hockey. I'm checking scores. I'm watching the game. That everybody has to have one thing that resets their mindset. It's not a distraction. I love hockey. I'd like to be involved with a team, ideally my local team. I'd like to be involved with the team. Another thing on my bucket list is, and this one to some people I think is misunderstood, I want to own a private plane. And I want to own a private plane for different reasons than I think people think. A lot of people want to own a plane because it's a flex on Instagram. It was about 2010, and I was having a meeting with my mentor, Ed Milet, and we were talking about owning a plane. And I said, Ed, do you think I should put owning a plane on my list? He says, absolutely. But he explained it to me in a way that I'd never been explained. He said, Steve, when you own a plane, you can do a team meeting in Saskatoon. It can be over at 4 p.m. You can be on your plane at 4:30 and you can be home for dinner. He said, you miss way less things. It's about time. You're not saving any money owning a plane, but it's the time that you save. You can give a great speech on stage in Brandon, Manitoba, and then you don't have to miss the hockey game at 8 p.m. that night. He says the amount of time that it saves is life-changing. So that's on my list. And obviously, you can take teammates and recognize them and fly them around, which is a pretty cool experience too. So I would say those are a few things. The last thing that's on my list that I'm working really hard towards is 10 million in cash. We are on a mission to put 10 million in cash. And I know a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't sit on cash and you should have everything invested in your assets. And yeah, we invest in a lot of assets. But at some point, I want to be able to write a check for $10 million cash. And that's one of my financial bucket list goals, and we're working towards that. So,
wow, that's amazing. I love it.
How does one person shift from the production mindset that they were originally trained on to that recruiting mindset so we can take it from self-employed to a business?
That's a really good question. I think that a lot of people get stuck in the production mindset, right? The production mindset is a survival mindset, and you nailed it. It's a self-employed mindset, right? And it happens in every industry. It happens in the insurance industry. A self-employed mindset happens in the real estate industry. It happens in the mortgage industry, right? It can happen in any industry where you have a license to do what you do. And production is what I refer to as the low-hanging fruit. It's the immediate satisfaction. It fulfills the immediate need. You help a family, money hits your bank account. Recruiting requires a vision. And without a vision, the recruiting's not going to happen. See, a lot of agents have it wrong. They think, man, I'm really bad at recruiting and I don't know how to build a team. It's not that people are bad at recruiting. It's not that they don't know how to build a team. It's that they lack vision. Because the bigger your dream, the bigger the team. You're always going to go to where your mindset is at. And when we're not feeling great about ourselves and maybe we lack some confidence, maybe we've been around a little bit and we feel stuck, we have a hard time seeing past the month. We definitely have a hard time seeing past the year. So the thing that I recommend, Kelly, is really spending some time and working on your vision. You have to carve out time. Everybody works in their business, but the champions work on their business. Once in a while, I'll schedule a 2-3 hour meeting with myself. My wife jokes with me because I schedule a personal date night or a personal date lunch. What are you doing later, hun? I'm going on a date. With who? With myself. What are you doing? Are you dating yourself? I am dating myself. I'm dating my vision. I'm getting in touch with my vision because if I can't figure out what my vision is for me, I can't enroll my partner, and I certainly can't enroll my kids. So you got to get away from it all for an hour or two, once in a while, once a week, every couple of weeks, and you got to really sit down and you got to really figure out again what you want and what this is all for and where you want to be. And then you got to get around some people that inspire you, right? Success is 50% mental and 50% environmental. So you want to get around some people, whether it's getting on a call with me once a month for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, even just a quick vision stretch, or you book a 15-minute meeting with 3 or 4 senior brokers in the hierarchy. And the title of it is 15-minute vision stretch. And all you talk about is big things. All you talk about is where you want to be. Because your vision's contagious. If you don't work on your vision, your spouse isn't going to do it for you. Your spouse isn't going to knock on your door and go, hey, Kelly, I was just thinking of some big things. Because in every relationship, in my experience, there's one that's more of the visionary and one that they would refer to themselves more as the realist, right? And it's not good or bad. It's not good or bad. It's just one lacks the vision and the belief, and one needs to have that vision and belief. And if they both don't have it, it's easy to sink down, and the lowest common denominator is production. It's not a recruiting hole. It's a vision problem.
Wow. Okay. That makes lots of sense. Now, the next one is, how do you determine when you're sitting down with a potential recruit that they're a good fit or not? Because not everybody is a good fit, and you need to be able to know that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I'm deciding if somebody's a fit for my team, I go through the process. See, in most scenarios, Kelly, they're going to tell me if they're a good fit for my team. So what I'm doing is I'm presenting the opportunity. I'm explaining our expansion campaign. I'm very clear. I'm not sure if you'd be a fit for our team, right? I'm not sure if you'd be a fit for us, and I'm not sure that you think you'd be a fit for us, right? So there's got to be a mutual agreement that you think you're a fit for our business and we think you're a fit for us as well. So I'm going through the process. I'm painting the picture. I'm not overselling it. I don't oversell our business. In fact, when you get on a meeting with me, you'll hear often I talk about, man, this is hard. You got to get a license. Not everybody makes it. I'm reminding them that it's not a get rich quick. It's funny because the number one reason people quit our business and our industry is because they didn't get rich quick. So I'm right off the bat. I'm like, hey, this is the opportunity. This is what it's done for my life. This is what it's done for a bunch of my agents, but it's not going to be easy. And there is a process and there is a system and it takes time. And then I sit back and I say, does any of that pique any of your interest? And if you said yes, I'd say, okay, which part? What part intrigued you the most? And then you're going to sell me a little bit on why you think that you should be a fit for our team. Then I got some real direct questions for you. Like, are you willing to commit? And are you willing to work hard? Those are the things that I'm looking for from them. But I have this 7-step list that I look for. I call it a stud finder. And you probably want to write these down. If somebody has these 7 things, Kelly, I want to be in their wedding party. Like I'm going to make them my best friend. Okay. Here's the 7 things that if somebody has all 7 qualities, they have the best opportunity at winning right now. So quality number 1, are they likable? I'm looking for somebody that's likable. Do people like them? Because if people like them, they're going to be able to book a meeting. The second quality I look for is, are they trustworthy? Like, do people trust them? I know people that are likable, but nobody trusts them. I know people that are trustworthy, but vice versa. They're trustworthy, no one likes them. They're likable, no one trusts them. So are they likable and are they trustworthy? The third thing is, are they committed? Are they committed? If you're not committed, there's nothing that I can do for you. If you aren't ready to commit, you could be the most likable, the most trustworthy. If you don't commit, you will fail. So those are the first 3. Then, do they have desire? Napoleon Hill says the start of every successful man or woman is a burning desire. You could be committed all you want. They could show up all the time, but if they don't have a burning desire to do something, what do I mean by that is, are they hungry for something? Is there something in their life that they want to improve? See, the wolf climbing the hill is always hungrier than the wolf at the top of the hill. Do they have purpose to climb? Are they hungry? What need can this business fulfill? So that's the 4th. The 5th is, do they have a market? Do they have a market? And one caveat, are they willing to get into a market? Like, do they have a market? Are they willing to get into one? Most people have a market. But here's the next one. Are they willing to get into that market? Number 6 is, are they willing to get into that market? So they have one, but are they willing to get into it? I don't want to talk to people that I know. Okay, why is that? Do you not have credibility with them? Are you confused with the product? Like, what is it about our business you're afraid to talk to people about? Here's the 7th one. This is the X factor. Someone's got the 7th one. Your job is to be in their wedding party. Number 7 is, can you see them doing what you do at the level you do it at? Can you see them doing what you do at the level that you do it at? Now, they might not believe it yet. They might not see it yet. That's one thing about you that I've always seen. I know in my heart that you can do what I do at the level that I do it at. You're just not where I'm at in the journey yet. That's why I've always believed in you. And I've always, I see you as a senior broker. I see you as a 6-figure earner. And even though you're not there yet, or maybe your mindset's not there yet, I know that you have those qualities. So you're definitely somebody who, friendship aside, I mean, you're a great person, somebody that makes sense to go all in on in the business. Does that make sense? So those are 7 qualities I look for.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. Now, here's the last one that I have for you. How does someone remain patient when they have a vision and they see it, but they're not there yet?
Well, the game of life is a game of patience, isn't it? Here's the thing with the vision, Kelly, is the farther you go, the further the vision gets stretched. You're probably at a place today that you were hoping you'd be at when you first started. Now, you might have thought you'd want to be further ahead, but there was a time in your career where you started where you're like, man, if I could just get licensed and learn how to close sales and be independent, my God, my life would be perfect. Well, now you're there, and now your vision is so much bigger. Well, here's I'm gonna be a spoiler here. You're going to be an SMD. You're going to make 6 figures. And when you get there, you're going to be so frustrated that you're not an executive marketing director yet, and you don't know what you got to do to make 250. So you got to be patiently dissatisfied. You have to be in a hurry to get to where you need to go, but you got to be patiently dissatisfied. Okay? And you're going to have to try and enjoy the journey. If you're not having fun and you're not enjoying it, you're going to struggle the whole way. I hear a lot of up-and-coming leaders, they say, I'll be happier when. I'll be happier when I'm making 6 figures. I'll be happier when I'm a senior broker. And they get there and they feel empty. So you have to hold the faith, be patiently dissatisfied, make sure you're doing what you need to do, get some feedback from mentors to make sure you're on track, right? And then you just have to realize that, hey, I better start having some fun around here, right? Because if I'm having fun now, I'm not going to have fun when I get there.
Oh yeah, that makes lots of sense.
Hi, Krista.
So Steve, first question I want to ask is, how important is mentorship in this business?
Well, listen, the easy answer is it's super important. So I'll talk about the importance of mentorship, and then there's kind of like there's another side to it. So the reason that mentorship is important is because you don't know what you don't know. So what a lot of people do, Chris, is they just run towards something, and they go and they keep their head down. But what a mentor does is it reveals the blind spots. Because if you don't have mentorship, like having a mentor is like a course corrector. It's a sounding board. It's somebody who's been down the road that you want to go. And mentors can come in all different size and packages. It doesn't necessarily need to be the person that brought you into the business. A mentor can be somebody else, but when picking a mentor, it's got to be somebody who's further down the path in the same opportunity that you want to be. And again, they reveal blind spots. They'll tell you, hey, I tried that. They're going to get you back on the system. Brian Tracy wrote a book, and in the book he said, airplane is off course 99% of the time. Well, as agents, we're off course 99% of the time, and every day we got to course correct. But if we're off track for 2-3 weeks without coming back on, it's going to be tough. Now, with that said, I think mentorship has to be earned. I think a lot of people think they need a mentor, but if they're not showing up and they're not committed and they don't have goals and they're not putting in the work, they don't need a mentor. They need to figure out why they're here. So it's one of those things where I think people that don't have a mentor think that holds them back, or it's easy to blame somebody else for lack of success. But in order for me to really work with somebody, they need to know exactly why they're here. They have to be 100% committed. They have to be 100% open-minded. And only then do I really feel like I can be influential in their business. Does that make sense?
Steve, what was your biggest failure and how did you pick up from that?
So let's talk about failure for a second. And I'm going to ask you a question here. Define failure. What do you mean by failure?
Well, for me, I guess failure is kind of a really harsh word, but I feel that when I do not rise to my own expectations, I have failed in that, whatever I'm trying to rise to. So if there's a certain goal that was really important to you, something, let's just say, getting to $1 million, wanting to get that first million, I'm not going to say how many times did you fail? Because obviously not everything's a failure per se, but obviously there must have been some sort of stressors along the way. So how did that affect you, and how did you pick back up from all those?
Yeah. Okay. I understand what your question is. So first of all, the word like failure is so final. And I don't want to sound cliche or like a quote on Instagram right now, but literally I've never felt, Chris, in my whole career like I've ever failed. The only way that I could fail is if I quit. That's a failure. So I think what you're referring to is setbacks. How do you handle setbacks? How do you handle setting a goal and not achieving it? The first thing you got to do is you got to get the word failure out of your brain. You are not a failure. You have not failed. Just because you're not where you want to be does not mean that you failed. Success is a journey. So there's going to be times where you charge hard and you have a goal and you go all in and you miss it. That's going to happen more often than not. So how do I handle setbacks and pick up from it? You just got to recalibrate. You have to give yourself permission to hit the reset button. There's a difference between letting yourself off the hook for lack of activity and also not being too hard on yourself. The best up and coming leaders are the ones that can take a step back, take a look at the situation from 30,000 feet and self-diagnose. Like if you miss something, I want you to be able to take a step back, look at it and go, what happened? Did I make the calls? Yes or no? Did I do the activity? Yes or no? Did I follow the system? Yes or no? And you have to be able to self-diagnose, because there's way too many people running around going, oh, I missed my goals and I feel like a loser and I don't know what's going on. And well, what do you mean you don't know what's going on? Let's look at this situation. Like, pop the hood. You wanted to make $10,000 last month. You need to go on this many meetings. You need to make this many calls. So let's look at it. Pop the hood. Let me see. Oh, we didn't make enough calls. Oh, you didn't do enough meetings. Okay, so you didn't fail because you didn't quit. But the reason that you're set back from that goal is because you didn't do the activity. So compartmentalizing the emotion, taking the emotion out of it. Oh, I missed my goal. I missed $1 million a year. I missed $50K in a month. Whatever the goal is, taking a step back. There's nothing you can do about it. And go to work on fixing the reason you missed it. That's it.
That's just makes so much sense. It's so simplified.
Look, you got so much. I mean, you're a mom. You're running a household. You got all this stuff going on in your life. If we attach emotion to every single setback, we're a disaster.
It's true.
We can't attach emotion to every single setback, to every missed goal. There's got to come a point where it's like, all right, I missed it, and here's why. Let's go to work and get on it. There's more important things for you to be worried about and stressing about. You just got to go to work on what you need to do. Yeah,
it makes so much sense. Just totally simplified. Yeah. It's easy.
Awesome. Why don't you pick one more? Pick your last question.
How about let's do. What are your tips on building a great team?
What are my tips on building a great team? So what do you mean by building a great team? Define great team.
People that, I don't want to say identical, obviously, to me or to you, because, honestly, you don't want a bunch of the same, like, I don't want a bunch of me's running around. I want different, different personalities but I want somebody, a lot of somebodies that are passionate, who are very driven. One of the biggest, things I need to pop the hood on and look is to find people that are aligned, to stay the course, to want to grow, to want to personally develop, to also want to build, and have people see that. And I know they're not going to see it at the beginning, because I know I didn't, and it took a while for me to understand that. But I guess I'm looking for how to approach people without sounding too harsh, to say to people, hey, these are my goals. This is where I'm aligned. This is what I want to do. And hoping to find people with those same sort of goals, to be driven and want to build a team and want to help a lot of people and to expand. And I guess I'm looking for ways to approach people without sounding harsh, saying, hey, like, not that you have to do it like this, but that I want that.
Okay. So you just gave me like 7 or 8 golden identities that you want your team to have. So if you want to build that team, here's what you need to do. You need to write that down. And I want you to pick 4 or 5 of those things. And I want you to talk about it all the time. Krista, when I was getting out of the hospital in 2009 and I was in and out for the entire year, one exercise that I did is I wrote a list of what is the Holbrook Base Shop identity. And I wrote this down. We're the hardest working. We're the tightest knit, most well-known brand. We always do what's right. And I wrote those 4 or 5 things down, and in every single meeting, anytime somebody was interested in business, I talked about it. So here's what I want you to do. Every meeting you do, you present the business, the client side, the way you do, you say, listen, did I pique any interest on the business? Yeah, I did. Okay, great. Let me tell you about the kinds of people that I'm looking for. Krista, I'm looking for people that are committed. I'm looking for people that are mission driven. I'm looking for people that are ready to leave the excuses at the door and are ready to do something great with their life. Do you fit into that culture? Let me tell you about our team. There might be one person on your team, but let me tell you about our team. These are the qualities that we look for when we're looking for people to be part of our organization. And don't spew off 10 or 15. Get your 4 or 5 down. Talk about it every time someone has a flicker of hope. So you need to create a standard of language around who you're looking for, right? You're looking for a certain kind of person. And even though that some people are going to start and quit regardless, you create a standard. You talk about, hey, listen, let me tell you about our team. In the next 12 months, we have a game plan to go senior broker. And in order to do that, we're looking for some people. We're looking for some people that are blank, 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 blank. Do you see yourself fitting into that? Okay. Do you know anybody that would be a fit for that? So you're recruiting to that culture on the front end. You're talking about it, right? You're bringing people in. You're reminding people, maybe on your team slides, you say, hey, listen, here's the kinds of people we're looking for. So the key to building a great team is figuring out what that great team looks like and then recruiting to that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That's what I'm lacking. I'm not writing those down and having it and talking about it enough.
I want you to do this tonight. The Enslow Base Shop is, and I want you to write down 5 things. We are the most blank, 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 blank. And I want you to send me a text and I want to see it. And I want you to talk about that all the time and enroll your teammates.
I will for sure. I'm going to be on that for sure. As soon as I'm done here today, for sure. Yeah.
Those are great questions, Krista. Thanks for being here. Arvin.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
How the heck are you, brother?
What are your key standards in when you want to build a solid relationship with your up-and-comers? How do you do that?
Well, you started the question with what's your standard. So what do you mean by that? Because I think you're onto something.
Yeah. What's your standards? Like how do you let's say strategize building relationship with your teammates, with your up and coming leaders?
So the first thing I look for when building a relationship with up and coming leaders, Arvin, is it has to be somebody that's worth pouring into. And look, I don't mean to sound cold as an entrepreneur, but friendship aside, like you got to put friendship aside. This is a business. And if you're going to invest 5, 10, 15 hours a day, whatever it is, building people, you have to make sure the person that you're pouring into is ready to be built. So they have to be ready and open to be moved. Because if you're working with somebody and trying to pour into somebody and build a relationship with somebody that's not reciprocating, that's a dead end. Okay. So they have to meet you more than halfway, right? They have to meet me more than halfway for me to be ready to build them up. Does that make sense? So how do you know that they're that person? Well, they have to be committed. They have to be 100% committed. So they got to be showing up to everything. And they got to be hungry. Like, are they hungry for this business? Are they hungry to do something more than what they're doing? They don't have to see $100,000 yet. But if I get to recruit you and I'm going to spend time with you and I'm going to pour into you, Arvin, I need to make sure that you got some reasons on why you're going to do this right now. Because I'm not going to babysit you to the top. If you're in the not ready group yet, I'll see you on training. I'll touch base with you. But by me trying to pour into somebody who's not ready, it's going to build resentment because they're going to feel like I'm bothering them and I'm going to feel like I'm chasing them. And that's not good for our relationship. So that's the first thing. They got to be ready. Does that make sense? And then next is, it's like building a relationship. You gotta build trust. You gotta build trust in that relationship. So you gotta how do you build trust? Lots of communication, lots of touching base. Not every conversation is about the business. Not every conversation is about numbers. Not every conversation is about results. It's about, hey, how's your husband doing? How's your kids? How are you feeling? Hey, you weren't feeling great the other day. Are you getting through it? Those are the things that builds trust, because you're going to have to go to war with this teammate at some point. You're going to go to battle with them, not against them, but with them. And you're going to, and the battle that's ahead of them is the battle against mediocrity, the battle against their market telling them they can't do this, the battle against a client that's backing out, the battle against them getting a charge back against their commission. So there's some pretty big hurdles that someone has to overcome before they're full-time and seeing success mentally. Would you agree with that? So if you don't have that relationship with them and you haven't built that like foxhole buddy relationship, that trust, then as soon as something goes wrong, they're going to take the opinion of somebody else who has no idea what this is over the opinion of yours. You got to get into their ear. You got to get into their heart. You got to build trust, build relationship. So when that shit hits the fan, they trust your opinion. They trust your feedback. And that's where it begins.
Yeah. definitely. That's got a lot of out of that. Um, Second
Yeah.
question, Steve, and I know you're a big visionary and
Mhm.
um, you teach this a lot, but for yourself, when it comes to your own leaders, how do you connect your vision and how do you connect your vision to somebody's vision? And if somebody does not have their vision or unclear, how do you teach that to them?
Okay. So let's start with you. So developing a vision for you, Arvin, and working on it, it's like exercising a muscle. You got to go to work on it. You got to spend some time every single week. I want you to block off 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour a week where it's just you. And I want you to really, really think. You got to put aside if you lack confidence, put that aside. If you lack belief, put that aside. If you've done this before in a smaller capacity, forget about that. What do you really want? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your financial situation to look like? What do you want your family situation like? Who are the people that you want to help? What are some things that you want to get done? You really got to work on that, because if you're not flexing that muscle, if you go to the gym once a year for 12 hours, you're not going to get fit. You got to go to the gym 3-4 times a week, 20, 30 minutes a day. If you lack vision, it's because that vision muscle is atrophied and you need to start to work it out. You need to set some time aside, and maybe the first 30-minute vision building every week. That first 30 minutes, you might sit there with a blank sheet of paper and a pen and be like, what the hell do I want? And you write one thing down, but then you draw a line from that one thing and it leads to something different. And then next week, you draw a line to something different, and you draw a line to something different. And all of a sudden, the floodgates open. See, having a vision is really having something. Ed Milet explained this to me a long time ago. Here's the vision is this: when we win the war, we will blank. The mission is the day-to-day strategy. Mission, flank right, flank left, right? 10 recruits in the base. Make 25,000 next month, right? It's the mission is the month in, month out. All right, we got a mission this month, you guys. I'm not talking about the crusade mission. I'm talking about the month to month mission. Goals, mission, month to month. What do we got to do? March, win. The vision is, man, honey, 5 years from now, we're going to be living in that community. Our kids are going to go to that school. We're going to have this much debt left over. We're going to have this much money saved. We're going to be driving these kinds of vehicles. Once a year, we're going to do a family trip. Once a year, we're going to do a big family trip. Once a quarter, we're going to do a date weekend where you and I get out of town. For one night every quarter, you and I on a date weekend. The vision is, man, this is what it's going to be like when. Now, with that vision, it's going to, you bring it back down to, we're going to have 100 licenses and we're going to be earning this kind of money and we're going to be feeling this way. And the more you can taste that, touch it, feel it, live it, experience it. See, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between if it's real or if it's not. So the more you put yourself in that state, the more you trick your brain into thinking that you've already achieved it. So then you start to become that person. You start to walk and talk like the person that lives in that community. You start to think like the guy that already drives that car. You start to stand like the man that's already debt-free. But you will never stand like that man. You'll never become that person. You never think like that guy if you never go there. And you're never going to go there if you don't set time in your schedule every single week. I recommend a guy like you at 1 hour a week. And then maybe once a month, you bring your beautiful spouse into that meeting once a month. But other than that, you go to work on you. You go to work on the goals. You go to work on the vision. Make categories, right? Category 1, children. What do you want for your kids? Category 2, my family back home. Category 3, fitness. Category 4, finance. Category 5, me personally, just for Arvin. Selfish category. What does Arvin need for Arvin? Man, Arvin needs some 3-piece suits. Arvin needs some Italian leather shoes. Arvin needs to drive a Prius or a Jaguar, whatever you're into. And you go to work on it. And then you close your eyes every morning, Arvin, just for 5-10 seconds. And you just go there and you just put yourself there. I'm not saying you got to meditate for half an hour and all this stuff. I want you to create that vision every week where you work on your vision, and every day just go there for a little bit. And when the wheels are falling off and the lug nuts are loose and everybody's quitting and all the clients are canceling, you pull out that vision sheet and be like, man, it's going to be so great when. And then once you have that figured out, you go to your teammate and go, Arvin, what do you want, brother? What do you want? Let me tell you what's working for me. How much time a week are you spending on your vision? I had this meeting with Holbrook 2 weeks ago, and I went to work and I started to create a vision for my life. And I want to encourage you to do some of the same things. Like, what would be a difference for you in your life? How much money right now would make a difference? What do you really want out of this? What would make you happy here? In the next 2 years, if you could accomplish blank through this business, what would make you feel like $1 million? Retire your spouse. Let's talk about that. How much money would it take to retire your spouse? $2,500 a month for her. Okay. How would that make you feel? Okay. When do you want to have that done by? 3 years tops. Man, that's the start of your vision. That's the start of your vision. What else will make an impact for you? And you just start to walk them through the baby steps. But it's hard to talk about something that maybe you haven't fully experienced yet. Put yourself in this situation. Put yourself in this vision mindset. Go and work on that muscle and then share with your team the things that are working for you just at a smaller level. And guess what? Maybe you need a new mantra. The Legaspi Base Shop is the number one vision-driven base shop in the company. You may not be the most talented. I know I'm not. You're not the most skilled. I know I'm not. But what if you became the base shop that got the most clear on their vision? And how would that impact the people on your team? Maybe that becomes a part of your identity. You're the vision guy moving forward. You work on it, you develop it, you spend time doing it, and then you come to guys like me every once in a while and say, hey, can you help me work on my vision?
That's amazing.
Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. Lots of pointers there. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So, and this is, I just thought of this. You seem like you have everything in life, and you have a great family, you have a great life. Question for you personally: what do you really want in life from this business?
Look, I think it's easy to look at people that are further down the road and think that. I know I felt that at times where, hey, this guy or this gal's got everything. And I just want to first tell you that I don't feel like I have everything. I feel like I've accomplished a lot. I feel accomplished. And I feel proud of myself. I feel proud of my family for having gotten this far in business. But Arvin, there's always another level, right? I'm chasing things in my spiritual life. I'm chasing impact. The one word that comes to mind is impact. I want to have a bigger impact on people. My joy comes from impacting other people. I'm excited to see what I can help my kids become. I'm excited to see what my wife and I can become in our marriage. I'm excited to see what guys like you can do in our business. This has nothing to do with me having it all. This has nothing to do with making 7 figures a year. This has everything to do with I'm still a young man and I have many years left, God willing, with breath in my lungs. And I want to live my life through impact. I want to make a difference. And every time we hit a milestone, it's a little bit of validation that we're doing some right things. But Arvin, my vision it goes way beyond income. It goes way beyond what we have today. Look, there's a key here. We're super grateful for what we have. We're super grateful. I tell people we're so blessed. But, there's a lot of things that I want to get done in my life, right? My family battles with bowel disease, with Crohn's and IBD, and they still haven't found a cure for that. The work is not done, right? My spiritual life, I'm a fraction of the man that I need to become before I meet my creator. It's an ongoing process. The work is not done. We've had an impact with, hundreds of people in our lives, in our business, but it's not thousands or hundreds of thousands yet. The work is not done. So my vision at the end of my life is to look back and say, you know what? I gave it everything I had to have an impact in every area of my life. And that's how I live my life. And that keeps me inspired. This has nothing to do with getting to $1 million a year and retiring and becoming the same version of me that I was before. This is way beyond that. And if I can help you and your family get debt-free, live your dream, right? Travel the Philippines with you guys one day and you guys can show me all the beautiful beaches. Like that, to me, that fires me up. That excites me. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's pack a punch. It's a lot. Thank you. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
My last question. I know you've done a lot. Mentioned, you mentioned you're not finished, but what was your perspective of success when you started in the business, and what is it now, and what do you see moving forward?
That's a simple answer. My perspective of success when I started was money, was income. That's all I thought. 100,000 a year, I was successful. I would be successful. $250,000, I'd be successful. Now, once you get beyond the money, and I answered it previously, it's all about helping other people get what they want. It's how many clients can we help? It's how many families can we serve? It's how many agents can I get licensed to come full time and live their dream? And the future is all about that. My definition of success, I see people that have money in their other businesses and they talk all about money in their other careers. And I think, wow, what an empty life. How empty that must feel to just be chasing money. But when you can chase impact and you're in the right vehicle, the money always follows. If you like this training, make sure to watch this next one because I know you're going to love it.